Hey there, my fellow intellectuals. Kyle here with another PhDiary entry. This is the fifth one. It is the end of Friday, April the 7th, and it is the end of my first week of my last quarter in graduate school. It's hard for me to really believe, honestly, that the first week is now in the books. And I've really been enjoying making these sort of vlog entries at the end of each day, sort of just decompressing and talking about what I've actually gotten done. So today, what I did was I had a group meeting with my PhD advisor and then the other graduate students in our group. We typically have them on Friday mornings at 10 in the morning. And, just very productive meeting. Just gave my advisor some updates as to what my plans are in terms of finishing my dissertation, papers that I want to write before I move on to the next thing of my life, whatever that is. I still don't know what that is yet. And I also got into contact with someone who I work with about potentially handing over sort of the unfinished work that I have of my PhD. If I don't get it done and don't get it published, there is interest from people in our collaboration to pick up where I leave off and try and finish the work and publish it. So I think that's great because I don't really want to leave the stuff unfinished. I wish I could be the one who gets to write all the papers myself and do all the science, but unfortunately, that's just not how it looks like it's going to turn out for me because I'm graduating soon and not going to be staying in academia, so probably not going to have a ton of time to dedicate to this kind of research anymore. But I'm glad to hear that there are interested parties who would like to finish what I started. So that was great. In terms of things that I actually got done today, I spent a good portion of today making tables. Now, there's a really awesome website that I'll put in the description below. I can't remember the name of it exactly. I think it's like Table Generator or something like that, but I'll put the link in the description if you're interested in it because it really saves time with making tables like in LaTeX. So if you're making tables in LaTeX, which is the standard typesetting program to write papers and textbooks, this website lets you generate tables very easily. I remember the first time I made a table in a paper, I just looked at the code of someone else who had written a paper and had a very complicated table, and I just used that as my template to build the table that I needed. But it would have been a lot easier if I used this website. So recommend going to this website right now. I'm sorry, I can't remember it at the moment, but made a lot of tables. I also used ChatGPT to help me with that because ChatGPT is really good if you want to do some very menial tasks. Like for example, I had to, do some data entry into these tables, and I didn't really want to have to manually, copy and paste each entry in the table. So what I did was that I had the data in sort of like a column format in sort of like an Excel spreadsheet type of thing. And so what I was able to do is I was able to get ChatGPT to be like, organize it into like separate columns and then put it to the amount of decimal places that I wanted. So I wanted everything to have 3 decimal places. And so the data was not in that form. It had many more decimal places, but I wanted to truncate it at 3. So I said, hey, ChatGPT, can you just put these list of numbers into 3 columns and then put them to 3 decimal places of precision. So did that, and it was just like instantaneous. Well, sorry if I hit the mic, but it was just like instantaneous, and it was great. I really have enjoyed ChatGPT's usefulness in terms of having it do very, very simple things that I could figure out how to do, but it would use up brain power and time that I would rather not have to spend, like putting stuff into tables, and that just expedited the whole process, and it was just amazing. So a lot of table work, a lot of transferring my second paper, the draft contents into my thesis, which are making up 2 chapters of my thesis. So got all of the figures separated, which was kind of a boring task, to be honest. But essentially I have 2 data sets in this paper, but each data set is going to be its own chapter. So for the paper, there are some figures where the 2 data sets are joined together. So I'm making the same plot for the 2 data sets, sorry. But now I have to separate them so they'll be standalone in the chapter of the thesis. So did that today, and I have pushed my dissertation length. The whole PDF document is, I think, 130 or so pages at this point now, which is a lot, but it's not done. And I had really no idea what the length of this document was going to be by the end. I still don't really have a sense. I think it's probably going to be somewhere between 150 and 200 pages, probably closer to 150 to like 160. So that is where I am with that, but I'm in a good place. I think this is the end of week 1, and I think considering what I've done this week, all things considered, I've made substantial progress on my dissertation. I've had a really good time writing the introduction and the methodology of my thesis. Those are the first 2 chapters of my thesis, and it's been fun going through the history. As I mentioned in previous entries, I'm a huge fan of history, and just getting to remember all the contributions to supermassive black hole research over the past 60 years has been just a real joy, honestly. I've really enjoyed going back and digging up some old papers and just sort of seeing where the field was at different points in time and seeing where I've sort of entered that stream, that sort of river, and what I've done for the field in that time. I mean, my contribution is very humble, I think, in comparison to the things I've read, but, I do feel a sense of just, wow, I am a part of this. I am part of the history of this very niche field, and it feels rewarding. It feels really rewarding to know that in the history of supermassive black hole research, you can't tell the entirety of it without mentioning me, at least for like a split second. So I don't know. That feels a little bit good at the end of the day. And I think going through this PhD, there's been a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and the lows are often filled with these moments of, what have I really done? My work doesn't really matter. I'm nowhere near as good as anyone who's come before me or who will come after me or who are currently in the field with me. And I think that's just imposter syndrome. Like I said, that I've made a video on this before, just sort of trying to invalidate the accomplishments that I've done, that I've achieved. So it was nice to think about that and think, at the end of it all, I've done something, and this thesis will be proof of that. And if I never do anything else in astrophysics, well, I'll be able to say I did this. And I think that's more than I could have hoped for when I first started this. So, yeah, I'm in a good place. I think I'm in a good place with it, and I'm looking forward to finishing it up. So, with that, I think I will conclude the video. It is now officially the weekend, and I think I'm going to go enjoy my weekend. And I hope you enjoy yours too, and I will see you in the next video.